Jenny with the ReRUNS team, and I am here to give you some tips and tricks on your non-clothing items and how to prepare them. Some things that I like to have around the house is the rolls of shrink wrap. You can get these at Walmart, they're about $5. You can use this. I like it because it's got a little handle on it. You can use the saran wrap from your kitchen. This is a great thing to have if you have an item that may be like this sled, so it's kind of like a slick material, so the tape might not stick to it as well. This one actually has a cord that I was able to pin my tape to. But if by chance it didn't have this cord, what you could do is you could take this saran and you could kind of go around it a couple times, tape that to itself, and then tape your tag onto that. That's going to keep that on here and it's not going to peel off as easily. Another great tip with the shrink wrap is if you have those wooden puzzles that of course aren't in a box, you can take this and you can go around the puzzle. That way people can still see the puzzle, they can still see it's in great shape. You're not taping on, a lot of those have like a little sticker or the wood. You don't want that paint or anything to come off if you were to tape it, so this is another great thing for the puzzles. Another thing I like to have is twine. Also the shoe ties. These are great for when you have something like this. This one doesn't have a lot of stickers, but some of these little Tikes things have stickers and little decals on them. And sometimes people will tape over those. Well, when you go to take that tape off, it will rip that sticker off. So a way to avoid that is you take your handy puncher. You can punch through. I always like to put a little piece of tape over where you punch or before you punch. That way it makes it a little stronger. And you can just use a little zip tie here. They went through there. These people also have little parts that go with it. Put it in a little Ziploc baggie, and then they have a twine taped onto there. They did a little hole punch through the bag and then use the twine to tie it on there. So that's some great little tips to keep these clean and free of that adhesive that you get from those from using tape on these items. Another way you can use the shoe ties, something like this. We get toys like this, we have Buzz Lightyear, we get dinosaurs, you know, all those kind of things like that, little cars, and if you just tape it on there, a lot of times those get pulled off, they leave that sticky residue. So what you like to do is you have your tag. Oh, Buzz is not going to stand for me. You take a little hole punch. I got a hole punch in there. Of course, I did the tape on there before I punched. I'm going to go through there and then just find a spot on here. I'm going to put it on his leg here where I can put this zip tie through, maybe. There we go. And just kind of tighten that on there so that won't come off. And that keeps that adhesive off there and gets that on there where it won't come off as easily. Some other little tips when you're doing DVDs or books, things like this, we always want to put the tag on the back where it's not as seen, especially on books, because sometimes it does, you know, unfortunately we have to do the tape on the books, but that keeps it from pulling the front cover off and keeping that looking nice on the front cover. Also, while you're waiting in line, when you have your barcodes, we like to put it over the barcode that's already on the book or on the DVD. That way it's not smacked on the front, anything like that. Kind of keep those books looking nice. All right, another thing. So you have a game. This is mighty good in that shopping cart. This comes off like this. You want to make sure you have all your parts and pieces in there, but you are going to want to leave that open. This will be something that our volunteers will go through, make sure all the parts are in there, make sure it's in working condition. And what we'll do after we inspect that is we have all these supplies here, so we'll go ahead and wrap that up, and you can go ahead and, if you want to tape it or twine it on there beforehand, or we can tape it onto that saran. So that is just another tip. Another great thing to have around is different size baggies, Ziploc baggies. These big ones, you can get these at the dollar store. This is a 2.5 gallon bag, and you can get these 5 of them for $1 over at the dollar store. They're great for bedding. You want to leave it unzipped. Don't seal those because we will inspect all that. Great for these blocks, Legos, that kind of stuff, putting them in a bag like this. That way people can still see them, but they're protected. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, I have this pillow. This is one of those dream light pillows, so it's not just a stuff something that does nothing. It has the lights that shine on the ceiling for the kids at night. Now, instead of taping it on this, because that would, get that gooey adhesive on there, we're gonna go ahead and just take a safety pin and we're gonna pin it right to this little guy. We'll do it right there on his paw. That way that is on there and we're not getting that adhesive on there again. Let's see, I got a couple other things. Another great size baggie to have are these little tiny portion control pads. They're like the snack packs. Some of them go like this and zip here. Some of them are like this. But these are great. If your little girl has maybe some jewelry that you're getting rid of, it is the perfect size. You can take a note card, cut some little holes in it, put it on there like that. We have it taped on the back so it doesn't fall off. And then we can slide that in this bag. It fits in there just perfectly. Maybe if I can, there we go. And that way we seal that up and then we would tape the card to the back. That way that item is seen. It doesn't get all wadded up, in the bottom of the bag. But that's a great way to display that to get your stuff sold. Last thing I got here are shoes.
Never heard a red paw talk before? Come on, take me home.
Sorry about that. Sorry really wants to come home with me. So you want to take your shoes. You can use twine. You can use the shoe ties that we provide in the bags of pins if you purchase some pins from us. But what you want to do is you want to, sometimes they'll have like the little hooks on the little loops on the back that you can go through and do it that way. Sometimes I just go right through the shoelace, where the shoelace goes through. Just go right through there. Now when you're tying this together, when you're zipping it together, you want to make sure that you don't do it too tight, because sometimes if you do it too tight, then it sits like this and it doesn't display very well on our shelves. So you want to get it just tight enough that they are snug, so they're not going to be flopping, real wide apart, but not too tight that they're like this. So I hope that makes sense. And then you can take your tag, you can do the little hole punch, and then with a safety pin, just go through that hole. And I like to go through your little zip tie. And I always like to try and maybe put it in the back, that way the shoes are displayed well. Otherwise, if that's over it, it kind of covers it. So on the back like that. So I hope this has helped you, give you some tips and tricks. If you have that item that you just can't figure out how to get it in a bag, or you have a big bedding set that you don't have a bag big enough for, go ahead and make sure it's all clean and laundered. Bring it in, and we have some bags here. We have some supplies here. If it's something that you just can't quite figure out how to, maybe the shoes don't have anything on them, you can't quite figure it out, just bring those in. Our volunteers can help you out. We have lots of little tricks and tips that we can help you out with. So just bring, that one item that you just can't quite figure out, and we'll help you out with that. I hope to see you guys all in the fall for a check-in. It's going to be here before we know it. Start tagging that stuff now, and we'll have a great summer.